My brothers kicked me out of the family business because I'm a woman and I built their strongest competition. They told me business was a man's game. So I showed them exactly how a woman plays it, without mercy. I bought my family's 70-year-old legacy for pennies on the dollar yesterday, and the look on my brothers' faces was worth every single cent. My father built Kensington Developments from the ground up. It was the premier luxury construction firm in the city. I was the COO. I ran the day-to-day, I managed the contractors, and I kept the budgets green. My brothers, Grant and Cole, they were the face of the company, which basically meant they took clients to golf lunches and expensed bottle service at clubs. When Dad passed away last year, we were all supposed to inherit equal shares. But I didn't read the fine print of the updated bylaws Grant had our lawyer slip in while Dad was sick. The day after the funeral, I walked into the office to find my keycard didn't work. Security met me at the elevator. Not the guys I had hired, but new guys. They escorted me to the conference room. Grant and Cole were sitting at the head of the table, wearing matching bespoke suits that cost more than my car. "We're making some changes," Grant said, not even looking me in the eye. "The investors, they're nervous. They don't think a female COO projects the right kind of strength for the construction industry. It confuses the brand." "Confuses the brand?" I asked. "I doubled our profits in Q4. You two can't even read a blueprint." "It's just business, sis," Cole smirked. "We're buying you out at the baseline valuation." He slid a check across the table. It was insulting. It was barely enough to cover my rent for a year. They had undervalued the company on purpose to cheat me out of my inheritance. "Take a vacation," Grant said, lighting a cigar in the office I had declared a smoke-free zone. "Go find a husband, have some kids. Let the men handle the heavy lifting." I didn't scream, I didn't cry, I didn't flip the table. I picked up the check, I folded it neatly, and I looked at them. "You're right," I said. "I should start something of my own." I walked out of that building with nothing but a box of personal items and a contact list memorized in my head. They thought they had cut off a limb. They didn't realize they had just cut off the head. They kept the name, but they lost the brain. And I knew exactly where to strike first. I didn't take a vacation. I didn't find a husband. I took that insulting buyout check and I rented a warehouse across town. I started Apex Logic. Grant and Cole thought Kensington Developments ran on reputation. They were wrong. It ran on subcontractors. The electricians, the plumbers, the steel guys, they loved me because I paid them on time. They hated my brothers because Grant and Cole were arrogant and constantly delayed payments to fund their client dinners. I started making calls. "Hey, it's me. I'm out on my own. I can't pay you what Kensington pays yet, but I promise I'll pay you on Friday, every Friday. And I won't scream at you when supplies are late." One by one, the best crews jumped ship. Kensington started hemorrhaging talent. Then came the Atlas project. It was a $50 million bid for a new tech campus. It was the contract Kensington needed to survive the year. Grant and Cole were so sure they had it. They were wine and dining the developers, taking them to Vegas, buying gifts. I didn't buy the developers' dinner. I looked at the blueprints. I noticed a flaw in the geological survey that Kensington had ignored. If they built where they planned, the foundation would crack in 5 years. I put together a proposal. It wasn't flashy. It didn't come with a gift basket. It came with a revised engineering plan that saved the client $10 million and prevented a future disaster. The day the bids were announced, I was sitting in my cramped office eating takeout. My phone rang. It was the lead developer. "Kensington offered us a spectacle," he said. "You offered us a solution. When can you start?" I stole the biggest contract of the year, right from under their noses. Meanwhile, Kensington was falling apart. Because all the good crews were working for me, my brothers had to hire cheap, inexperienced labor. Walls were crooked, pipes burst, deadlines were missed. Their reputation tanked. They were getting sued left and right. I watched from a distance as their stock price plummeted. I saw the paparazzi photos of Grant looking disheveled, yelling at a zoning inspector. They were bleeding cash, and they were desperate. 6 months ago, I heard a rumor. Kensington was insolvent. The bank was foreclosing on their headquarters, the building my father built. They had to sell. I called my lawyer. I told him to set up a shell company. I told him to approach the bank as an anonymous buyer. "Offer them cash," I said, "but offer them half of what they're asking. They have no choice." My lawyer called me back an hour later. They accepted. They're signing the papers on Friday. They want to meet the new owner to discuss a consulting role to keep their faces on the brand. I laughed. "Oh, I'll meet them. Tell them to be in the boardroom at 9:00 a.m. The boardroom smelled like stale fear. The mahogany table was scuffed. The plants were dead. Grant and Cole were sitting there, looking 10 years older than when I last saw them. They were nervous, straightening their ties, waiting for some foreign investor or hedge fund manager to walk in and save them. When the door opened and I walked in, the silence was heavy enough to crush a lung. I was wearing a white suit, sharp, immaculate. I walked to the head of the table, Grant's seat, and I sat down. "You," Cole whispered. "What are you doing here? We're waiting for the owner of Apex Logic." "I am Apex Logic," I said. Grant turned pale. "No, that's impossible. You don't have the capital." "I have the Atlas contract," I said, "and the Metro contract, and the Skyline renovation. I have all the contracts you lost because you were too busy playing golf to check the concrete mix." I tossed a folder onto the table. "This is the acquisition agreement. I now own Kensington Developments. I own the building, the trucks, the logo, and the debt." Okay, Grant stammered, trying to put on his charm. "This is great. It stays in the family. We can work together. We can be the face, you can run the back end just like old times. We have a lot of ideas." "I'm not here to partner with you," I interrupted. "I'm here to evict you." "You can't do that." Cole stood up, his face red. "Dad built this." "Dad built it," I corrected. "I maintained it, you destroyed it." I pointed to the door. The same security guards who escorted me out a year ago were standing there. I had rehired them with a raise. They were smiling. "Your keycards have been deactivated," I said, repeating Grant's words back to him. "Security will escort you out. Take a box for your personal items. Leave the company laptops." "You're a monster," Grant spat. "We're your blood." "You told me to go find a husband," I said, leaning back in my chair. "I didn't have time. I was too busy finding a fortune." They were dragged out, shouting and making threats that held no water. I walked to the window and watched them on the sidewalk below. Two men in expensive suits, holding cardboard boxes, arguing with each other in the rain. I picked up the phone and dialed my assistant. "Order a crew to come in," I said. "I want the Kensington sign taken down by tomorrow. Replace it with Apex. And get someone to clean this office. It smells like failure." They say revenge is a dish best served cold. But honestly, it tastes pretty good with a morning coffee in your own corner office.